to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and okay, so we do diligent research.
Diligent.
For these episodes,
Yes.
right? And in my research for this episode, minute 27, Google, tell me stories about big things being thrown at people.
Oh, okay.
And when you do that, amusingly, well, and I can say this because the gentleman I'm about to talk about was not seriously injured. He was seriously injured. He was recovered.
Okay.
One of the first things that come up in YouTube is a video called Bizarre Video Shows Man Getting Hit by Runaway Tire.
Oh.
From CBS News in February of 2017. This happened in Brazil.
Okay.
Dude and his
Is
friend.
this when he's the guy's filling up his tank at
No.
okay.
He's just walking down the street.
Okay.
And a tire off of a vehicle from quite a ways away just flies into the frame and full on hits him in the back.
Wow.
It happens so fast and it's jarring and horrifying. Again, the report said he had a skull fracture, but he recovered. He survived, right?
Yeah.
So wish him well, of course. But whoa, and it made me think what's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing that's ever been thrown at you?
Boy, probably an animal.
An animal.
Yeah, here's a dog.
A dog. Here, take this dog,
Yeah.
right? I had a social studies teacher in high school. His name will protect his name for his anonymity. And he had a habit of throwing dictionaries at students.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like if you spelled a word wrong or you did something wrong, he would just throw the dictionary at you. He's retired, a very wonderful teacher. No longer, if you're a teacher and you're listening to this, please don't throw your dictionaries at your students. Because I think there's laws against that. Yeah. But what's the biggest thing that's ever been thrown at you?
Yeah.
I don't know. A pull toy, maybe.
Right.
That brings us to this minute.
Yeah, I have there's a GIF that I found that somebody had done, basically edited to look like it was from Grand Theft Auto, and so it's a actual news footage of a guy. This is what I thought you were talking about. It's a guy just at a gas station filling up his car, and from behind him, it's like a tractor tire truck, like the size of him, just comes barreling out and just hits him in the back, just boom, and just knocks him down. And then somebody had put in the thing from Grand Theft Auto, wasted, as if his character had been killed.
Is he okay? I
don't know. I just found that online, but it was I had that on because it's obviously. You hope that, but just in that instinctive thing when they put the thing on, it made me laugh. But then, of course,
it makes you laugh. Now, the good news is, okay, so now why can we joke about this is?
Yeah.
Because when you don't see it coming, your body doesn't tense up.
Yeah.
There's a whole medical science to this that you actually miraculously avoid injury in a lot of these cases because your body just moves. It's amazing what our bodies can take and what it can't take, but that works out. Yeah. Now, what happens in this minute?
Yeah, that's right. Because in minute 27 of Incredible Hulk from 2008, directed by Louis Leterrier, we pick up where we left off, which is the intense face-off between Blonsky and the Hulk. It's a great sort of little bit of misdirection there, too, because you have them facing off, and the Hulk growls him down, sort of like, what are you going to do, little man? Yeah. And then so he turns away. And the next second, he grabs a forklift and throws it at him. It's such for the Hulk, it was such a smooth, even motion, too, of just and take this. And
here
just,
you go.
Yeah.
What do I got here? Oh, forklift.
Yeah.
Try this.
Out we go. Yeah, so we see it flies through the air, knocks the gantry that he's on
Destroys
in
it.
half. It basically drops down. And then we see it's a pretty nice stunt of him having to grab the edge of it. Now, you can watch it and you can tell that's not Tim Roth.
Oh no, it's clearly not Tim
Roth. So in the commentary, he even says it too. He makes a joke about it too, like "Nice job, Patrick," because that's Tim Roth's stunt double, Patrick Mark.
Way to go, Patrick!
Yeah, so Patrick did he's the same one who did the motorcycle camera work during the chase scene in the favela.
Oh, we've talked about that.
Yeah,
yes.
Actually, Patrick gets a lot of extra work. So he. And in the full costume, this is what a stunt double does, like he did. And then they did a digital face replacement.
Not really well done.
But 2008's digital face replacement was not great.
In a half a second of motion blur, it's just not done.
Yeah, this is actually the digital face replacement has been around for a while. This way because they used it in Jurassic Park, where they're climbing through the ceiling and the raptors are below them, and Ellie falls through, and then she looks up, and then they pull her up just as the raptor does the grab. That's her stunt woman, and they digitally replaced her face with it, because it just happened that the way the stunt was shot, everything, as they're looking down, they're like, oh God, the footage is great, except that she looks right almost into camera because she looks up. And that was the first time I'd ever seen that technology used. And of course, that was 93?
93.
Yeah.
And it took a while. This is a tough effect because, okay,
Yeah.
when I think of worst digital face replacement, Titanic.
Oh.
There is the scene
okay.
there in the corridor, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and they're running. And it's supposed to be this great big moment because they're trying to escape the water.
Sure.
And it's not. It's their faces weirdly pasted on obviously other people. And if you remember the effect, they tried to get like the flashing light. There was something was obviously creating a lighting effect.
Yeah.
It's just not. You can tell those faces are not attached to that body.
Yeah.
It just happens. I mean, we're still figuring this out.
But they do what they got. And the stunt looks great.
Oh, no,
I
it
mean,
looks
I think the rest of
fantastic.
it's fine because obviously, I mean, a lot of it's not there. The gantry gives way, so it drops, and then he has to grab onto it. There was nothing behind him, nothing flying through or anything, so all that was added in. But yeah, then they cut back to the close up of Tim Roth hanging down there, and they said it does over a couple of days. They actually had to do this, all the different pieces of going around there too. So I mean, it's a good stunt. And it's a good effect.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before we started. Forklifts. Now, we couldn't tell exactly what model of forklift, because you're saying to yourself, well, come on, guys.
Yeah.
What model of forklift was it?
Right.
Okay, we couldn't
tried.
tell that.
Yeah, it's because it's so much in shadow, and then it's when it's flying through the air, it's digital. I couldn't get
It's a
clear
forklift.
shot.
It's probably
a
just
forklift.
a nondescript forklift,
Yeah.
right? Because it's probably all digital.
Yeah, that's true. It's very possible that forklift never existed.
Was the physics of that correct? So what does a forklift weigh? Now, this will surprise you.
Okay.
So what does a car weigh, the typical car? Cars have actually gotten heavier. Back in the 80s, a typical car would weigh around 3,000 pounds. Today, actually, they weigh around 4,000 pounds. Why is that? Bigger cars.
Okay, yeah, sure.
There's a lot more safety and a lot more things. We're not necessarily using carbon composites yet on the average automobile. But, 4,000 pounds. And you think to yourself, well, 4,000 pounds. Okay,
Yeah.
forklift, 4,000 pounds. That's a lot. No, forklifts, the average forklift, 9,000 pounds.
Wow.
And you
Like
say to
two
yourself,
cars worth?
well, and you'd say to yourself, how is that possible?
Yeah.
It's a smaller car.
Yeah.
But
It's like the size of a
forklifts
go-kart.
are built with counterweights.
Oh,
Because the
yeah, that makes
forklift
sense.
has to be heavier than what it's lifting
That's
and moving.
right. So it has to lift something
Yes.
that's more than 3. Yeah. So a forklift could lift a car.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So because the car is 3,000, 4,000
Right,
pounds,
4,000 pounds,
whatever,
sure.
and this is 9,000 pounds. So yeah.
And
Okay.
wouldn't have thought
that
of
makes
that.
sense. Without that, yeah. So it's like the Hulk. It's dense.
So let's just
Very
thank
tightly packed.
www.illinoislift.com for
Yeah.
that tasty information.
That's right. So Hulk just in one hands,
9,000
9,000 pounds.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah. And later on, we'll see the analogy he uses later on too. Yeah. So then actually cut back to Tim Roth. We get to see a fair bit of John McTiernan-esque lens flares.
Oh my God,
Some
all over the
little
place.
J.J. Abrams action going on there.
In fact, there's a wonderful shot of Tim Roth when as he's hanging on to the gantry, the destroyed gantry. The camera moves this perfect spot, and again, just perfect cinematography. The lens flare is right between his face and the gantry, and it's just a great shot.
So
It looks
that
awesome.
anamorphic lens
Yeah.
that makes those nice lines come out there. So then Hulk picks up. I'm not sure as it looks like just a part of the bottling plant. I mean, it looks like there was like where the bottles would go through to put the thing in there.
A huge geary thing.
Yeah,
with,
huge Gary thing.
pipes.
Another, of course, which probably again didn't really exist.
Yeah.
And then used it to smash through the wall, and he's out. And then Ross sees it happening, going, no.
Now, did you love and interesting the way they chose to articulate this? It's not like he picks it up, throws it out of the window,
Right.
and then looks and then jumps.
Yeah.
No, what does Hulk do? Hulk just me and gear thing
Yeah.
going out the wall.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like just a battering ram.
he doesn't look where he's going. He
Yeah.
doesn't look to see what's next. No, escape.
Full on barreled through that wall.
Yes.
With that and off he goes. Yeah, and then leaving Blonsky looking on in awe and confusion. Then we had over the roar. Then we cut to another helicopter shot of the favela.
So I've got my note on this. This is a beautiful sweeping shot. We've talked about the sweeping shots at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
This is a helicopter as a storyteller. We did all those shots showing you the population,
Yeah.
showing you the compactness, the density of people.
Yeah.
Now this shot is a quick pullback, and you're immediately into forest. And as this is happening, you hear the Hulk's roar.
Yeah.
This is showing you, he's out in the wild now.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
I love
yeah, that's
this
true.
shot makes sense because of all the other sweeping shots earlier that go have you pulling into the density. Now we're coming out. Love it.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
This
that's
is great
nice.
stuff.
I like that. Yeah, yeah, and from Civilization into the green too,
Right.
like we're used to the green. So then that shot then ends that scene. So like that's the end of the fight in the bottling plant, and then we got to go to a really quiet establishing shot back in the favela because we're going to go back to Bruce's apartment, and so it's like a very slow pan. So it's like, okay, everybody, take a breath. No more action for a while. Now we need to talk about what just happened. So we get back and we have Major Spar, we have Thunderbolt Ross, and we have Blonsky are the only three left standing after that one. It looks like even the poor guy from the van didn't even get to get out of the van. I mean, he's still there, like just keeping the engine
pushing
running.
the van.
Right, he's like, hope they cracked a window for him because poor guy. I wrote down a bunch of the dialogue. I went through the subtitles and pulled off. There's some really interesting stuff that they're saying back and forth here. So we have Blonsky is sort of, I feel like he's still kind of traumatized. He's sort of like fragmented. He's not making a whole lot of sense. So he says,
because he has a perception that is about to be shattered.
Right. So he says, I knew something was different before I got the shot off. He had it on him when he bolted. So that's when it shows the backpack. And so then Major Spar brings out the backpack, she opens it up, she finds the picture, and she shows up. And we hear the laptop boot up. So we know it's still working. So after the toughs had thrown it down on the gantry, it still survived. And then he pulls it, and there's the picture from the news clipping of Betty. And he says, is that a girlfriend? She helps him maybe? Like, he doesn't know anything. So apparently she was not part of the briefing.
Right.
So
exactly.
when they give the briefing, like when all that dossier and stuff they got to, like she was never mentioned. This is what I find interesting, though. Ross's response is, she is no longer a factor. We closed that door to him a long time ago. We closed that door to him. So we being the military? Like he's saying like they're not in contact, which at this point they're not. So he's right. She is now, up until this point, she had not been a factor. Now he's going home, and he's going to need to probably make contact with her, even though he doesn't know that yet. We closed that door to him a long time ago. Still thinking what that
father-daughter,
means. Is that father-daughter?
dynamic?
Is that the military, like saying like we made sure he can never contact her?
Exactly. That's what I took it as.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
But
he
it's
says,
still an interesting.
he's alone. He wants to be alone. That's also true to a certain extent.
That's though a father saying, "I don't want my daughter to get hurt."
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's
but
his
he
main
still
thing,
has
right?
not revealed that to Blonsky. I mean, like he's...
Oh, of course, but I think that's where
you
it's
can
coming
already see him compartmentalizing these things. And then as he's going through it, then he says, "But see if," and that's where the minute runs out. We don't know what to see if.
Now, of course, in the midst of all this, you have this great changing shot between Thunderbolt's face and Blonsky's face, and Blonsky just looking like, "What?
Yeah, I know. Like what? Why aren't you telling me any? What?
What do you mean the door's been closed? And wait, we're not gonna. What? No, she's bait. Like you can see it already in his head. She's like, no.
I'm a manhunter. Like this is like clearly this is a way to get to the guy.
And it's irrelevant who she is.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Like he had one picture. Like we've been through this whole apartment and all of his possessions. He had one picture.
That's bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's already there.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So we won't find out what we will see if until minute 28.
Oh, but I feel like this is a good moment to just take it all in.
I know, right?
Wonder
Like
what's
we've had
gonna
that
happen.
first major action sequence has come to an end. We've seen the Hulk and we've seen what he can do. We know that the noose is tightening, and right now we don't know where the Hulk is. He's loose in the world, and what's going to happen next?
Wow.
You'll have to tune into minute 28 to find out. There we go. So in the meantime, we are here to do Pride Public Service. Yes, that's right. We're here to make your Facebook experience even better because we have our own Facebook group you can join. It's called the Marvel Movie Minute and Next Reel Film Podcast Executive Lounge. Yes, once again, that's the Marvel Movie Minute and Next Reel Film Podcast Executive Lounge.
That's where you go to rest from all the other nonsense that's on Facebook.
That's right.
And we've heard from very important people like there's should you be on Facebook? Well, we're there to carry the torch of fun and normalcy.
There's lots of terrible stuff on there, but we're not one of those things. So make your Facebook experience 10% better by joining our group. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/thenextreel. In the meantime, thank you all for listening. I hope you had a smashing good time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.